Welcome to Top 10. Today, we'll be looking at 10 unique phobias. For this list, we're looking at unusual, terrifying, and sometimes irrational fears that many of us may have. Do any of these phobias affect you? Or are you afraid of something else? Let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoy the video, please subscribe, leave a like, and ring the notification bell. Thank you. Number 10. Glossophobia. Glossophobia is the fear of public speaking. A common yet distressing fear that many individuals is the idea of having to speak publicly. This fear can be derived from someone's past experiences, but mainly comes from the fear of being judged, embarrassed, or rejected. Glossophobia can result in poor self-esteem and depression if left untreated. It can affect someone's personal and professional life, especially while in a school or work environment. Physical symptoms of this phobia include rapid heartbeat, trembling, sweating, nausea, or vomiting. Do you suffer from glossophobia? Well, you're not alone. Abraham Lincoln, Gandhi, Sigmund Freud, and even Thomas Jefferson are reported to have a similar condition. Number 9. Megalophobia. Megalophobia is the fear of large objects or animals. If you suffer from this phobia, you may find daily life to be very difficult, considering the large infrastructure that surrounds us in our modern day and age. Everything from tall skyscrapers to large vehicles can cause someone with megalophobia to feel extremely uncomfortable. This fear can also affect how someone views animals, especially large creatures like elephants or whales. This phobia can be triggered due to the fear of exposure to the object and can result in everything from a tightness in the chest to a full-blown panic attack. Surprisingly, there are many people out there that suffer from megalophobia. From Gustav Eiffel, the designer of the Eiffel Tower, a bit ironic, to a beloved actor, Woody Allen. Number 8. Somnophobia. Somnophobia is the fear of falling asleep. This phobia causes an individual discomfort or panic over the very idea of falling asleep. Those who've experienced this describe it as an extreme anxiety and can result in night terrors and paralysis when they do go to bed. Somnophobia can drastically affect someone's life and result in sleep deprivation, fatigue, and the inability to function normally. Many who suffer from this phobia will avoid going to bed altogether or attempt to stay up as long as possible. Some may confuse somnophobia and insomnia, but while they're similar, they're not interchangeable. Somnophobia is an anxiety disorder that keeps people from going to bed even when they're tired. Insomnia is a chronic sleep disorder that makes it difficult for people to fall asleep or stay asleep. Surprisingly, both George Clooney and Mariah Carey have stated that they suffer from somnophobia. Number 7. Pediophobia. Pediophobia is a fear of dolls. Movie franchises like Chucky and Annabelle have created an awareness of this phobia and made many of us realize just how terrified we are of dolls, myself included. This fear can be triggered by seeing or thinking about dolls, which can result in feelings of intense terror or wanting to flee. Often, this phobia can be treated through therapy and in some cases medication. One of the most common forms of treatment is exposure therapy, which can begin with the individual being shown photographs of dolls, focusing on breathing techniques and relaxing until the person feels comfortable enough to be in the same room as a doll. No, thank you. Do you find dolls horrifying? Well, you're not alone. Channing Tatum is another individual who suffers from pediophobia. Number 6. Thalassophobia. Thalassophobia is the fear of open water. What many of us would describe as a relaxing day on the lakefront or boat, some people dread. Those who suffer from this phobia go to great lengths to avoid being near or even having to look at large, deep bodies of water. Thalassophobia can quickly turn a day on the beach to a living nightmare. This phobia activates our fight, flight, or freeze response, which is our body's way of preparing us to handle a possible threat. This phobia can be onset by a myriad of different traumatic events, from surviving a tsunami to even simply watching a shark attack on TV. It's important to note that some people can't remember the specific event that triggered their thalassophobia because it developed early in childhood. Jennifer Aniston is just one example of someone who suffers from this terrifying fear. Number 5. Misophonia. Misophonia is the fear of germs, dirt, or contamination. It probably doesn't surprise you to know that many people fear or have anxiety over germs and their own possible contamination. Also referred to as germophobia, this disorder can often rule someone's life and cause them to avoid social gatherings, public spaces, or even family. There are a number of reasons that could have caused someone to develop misophonia, from a simple event such as watching a documentary on the uncleanliness of commonly used objects, a cell phone being a great example, to a more traumatic event. This can result in the individual experiencing fear over germs spreading and resulting in the compulsive urge to clean and sanitize everything: the house, workplace, and themselves. Howard Stern, Howard Hughes, and Howie Mandel are some famous people who have been reported to us to suffer from this particular phobia. Makes you wonder if it's an age thing. Number 4. Coulrophobia. Coulrophobia is the honestly reasonable fear of clowns. Do you find clowns creepy and frightening? If so, you may suffer from this phobia. This common fear has caused individuals to feel the same way about mimes and other characters who paint their faces as they do about clowns. It can result in feelings of terror, panic to the point of a loss of reality, crying, and a preoccupation with the subject in question. Usually it's easy to avoid clowns in your daily life, but come Halloween time, and individuals such as Daniel Radcliffe and P. Diddy and myself are far more uncomfortable than usual. Number 3. Nyctophobia. Nyctophobia is the fear of the night or of darkness. This common yet extreme fear has haunted many of us from a young age, resulting in the use of night lights or leaving hallway lights on to extinguish the thoughts of what lurks in the dark. This particular fear usually develops between the ages of 3 and 6 and can often be viewed as a normal part of child development, because children at that age often also fear ghosts, monsters, or strange noises. As an individual grows older, it can result in trouble sleeping and anxiety while exposed to darkness. It can also result in physical symptoms such as lightheadedness, dizziness, upset stomach, and hot or cold flashes. Rafael Nadal is just one example of many who suffer from this phobia. Number 2. Arachnophobia. Arachnophobia is the fear of spiders. Does the mere thought of a spider crawling over your arm or hanging down from your ceiling send you into a panic? If so, you may be one of many who suffer from arachnophobia. There are many theories that may explain the development of this phobia, some of which include evolutionary threat responses, social depictions of spiders in movies such as Arachnophobia or It's a Bitsy, and or past trauma. This fear can have a crippling impact on your life because it will often cause individuals to avoid places or situations where one may encounter a spider. If you suffer from this phobia, you're not alone. Johnny Depp is one famous example of someone who hates these 8-legged creeps. Before we conclude, we'd like to have a few honorable mentions. Wiccaphobia. Wiccaphobia is the fear of witches and witchcraft. Zoophobia is the fear of animals. Xenophobia is a fear of strangers or foreigners. And nosocophobia is a fear of hospitals. Interesting. Number 1. Trypophobia. Trypophobia is often described as the fear of holes. This phobia can also apply to bumps and other patterns that are closely clustered together. When an individual sees any triggering object or photograph, they often feel severe dread or uncomfortability, resulting in extreme distress. Trypophobia imagery can also result in the individual feeling disgust, revulsion, or even nausea, Even someone like Kendall Jenner was quoted saying, "Things that could set me off are pancakes, honeycombs, or locust heads." Trypophobia is utterly disgusting. Do you agree with our rankings? Do you suffer from any of these irrational or extreme fears? Comment below and let us know, and we may just include it in our next video. Interested in more top 10? Follow, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on our channel.